So again, in these layers of glass, yes? Could you imagine putting a load of hydrogen in there and letting it experience the rays to make hydrogen 3? Would be pretty good, wouldn't it? Anyway, but also there's also aggravating stars, so it all depends on the alignment. So in order to stabilize a star, it seems very impossible right now, doesn't it? Like trying to contain stars. But it all depends on their alignment, yes?
Yeah.
And if there's a center star and you have a way to, one, be able to concentrate the energy back to this star here, two, also be able to control the energy to stop the star from orbiting, which would be an interesting thing, wouldn't it? But orbit in a way that always keeps the concentration of its energy will come, it can't go this way. So usually the star goes in multiple directions, doesn't it? Its energy. All over the shop, three-dimensional and also beyond, yeah? So we're going to contain all of that energy. So we're going to stop it and then make it go this way. And the same with something else. Another star, nice and close. In the universe, this naturally would probably, it would hardly ever occur. It doesn't mean that it's impossible, just more than unlikely to occur. And concentrate all of that energy, that heat. Now, how much more bigger can you get the center mass? Now, can you start feeding in elements? Okay, so you want to start to create your own nebula, so to speak. But nebulas are very messy, aren't they? All chaotic, of all different ingredients, and there's not much control over that. There's no order over that, we should say. It gets what it's given and does best from a bad situation. Seems to be like the story of the universe, doesn't it? But oh no, humans can organize that, can't they? To give this certain elements in a maximum ratio. Another experiment you could do is where you could spoon drip it. Give it spoon drip elements.
Yeah.
Which star lasts the longest out of the two? That's fascinating. You might move on to black holes and then feed into it. You'd have to understand the pressure and the heat in order to get to the center of a star. And ironically, you would think that to be cool whilst going through that. And perhaps you might need the same, but in reverse ingredient to get into the center of a black hole. Lots of heat. Tap into one, feeds the other. That keeps you in a self-fulfilled prophecy. Wonderful. Now, what happens if you change those ingredients slightly? With the black hole in that, bit black and white, I suppose. And in this one, totally different. After all, these stars in certain ways contain the ingredients to make, well, neutrino star, and that neutrino star can create a black hole. So there are certain amount of ingredients that go into the recipe. So whatever that neutrino's nebula started with, those ingredients went into that recipe. Then we've got the mass of the planets around. Those ingredients factor in. Oh, one more thing about nature as well. Magnetism. Do you think that in polar reversals, that magnetism alters plants?
Yeah, probably.
Their growth. And if they've been used to growing in a northern hemisphere and there's a pole flip, do you think this damages the plants?
I don't know if damages, but influences definitely.
Definitely going to
Make them
influence.
slower or
It's got to be
something.
an ingredient going into the plants. I often ask these questions, and migration is different as well, but like for like. Interesting, with a reversal, you get to experience, well, what are the differences? How does that reversal come by? Is it as simple as something rotating in the planet, or does the planet, while rotating in its usual balancing mechanism, then begin to tilt? Which would be a weird feeling for all life on it, wouldn't it, really? A lot to adjust to something like that. Now, how the atmosphere responds to that, the water will respond to that, continents are going to respond to that. This will give you a wiping of the slate. All very chaotic, and then it calms down. Which one do you reckon it is? Internal flip, or do you think it's external flip? Now, we look at Uranus, and you look at that, and you see that it's on its ass. Yeah, it could have been smacked by a meteorite. Or it could have been a role reversal gone wrong.
Yeah.
Things get hit by meteorites all the time. Does it affect their... tilts. Who knows? Can it repair from the tilt? But there again, going for a reversal and then being struck by something, could this then affect the mechanisms, jostle those liquids around? Anyway, still very fascinating. The longer you live, the more information you have. Isn't that the way it is?
Yeah.
So if you recorded this back in history and humans became aware during multiple reversals and then began to catalogue that, what are the other changes that have been lost to the time? Did things change? Did plants are not able to cope with that? I'd rather figure that sort of shut out now rather than later on, because then you can be prepared for it. Magnetism added in, and we all generate magnetic fields, so that's important. We also incubate when conception and giving birth and different things. We incubate inside. Nature incubates on the outside.
Yeah.
It uses the environment to incubate, to take care of its young. That's an interesting thing. So if we generate a magnetic field, does that mean that nature is not so suffice and capable? It's fixed, we can move, which then can also make that move too, with intelligence around that situation, which then can lift that. So if it incubates into the environment, is it relying on a magnetic field from the environment, can't create one itself? Not enough. And relies on all of these factors, because that saves a lot of energy if you think about it. If you could incubate outside of you, that saves your body energy. What would your body do with this excess energy is the question. And we notice that we've got two different life forms, and one has gone off in one direction, but it relies on a lot of more supports. We rely on a lot less supports. And is that by design? Is that by manipulation? Life is manipulated, after all. It is creation, right? Do you know what Litland calls life?
No.
She calls it an invention. Now, I don't actually pull her on that, but it makes me very curious. Leaves me thinking, you can't argue with it, because, well, people say creation, right? But what is creation, after all? It is an invention, isn't it? Sort of mirrors the same. Look at this that I created. What's that? It's a robot. That's creation, or is it an invention? And then it makes you look at life. What is it created, or is it invented? Is it intended? And if a robot doesn't do something correctly, what do? Reprogram it until it does, yeah? Keep reprogramming it. It is used on a... Who knows what's going on in that artificial imagination of it? Who knows how it's perceiving that information? But still, and then how do you shape life? Well, I think there's multiple ways to teach it. One is in the good, and one is also in the punishment ratio, isn't it?
Yeah.
Both can be overdone. Interesting, fascinating. Anyway, but even still, so maneuvering stars in this way means that you are in control of that type of order that goes in and how it goes in. Then this gives you a database. Well, this star lasted even longer. Why did it do that? Well, what was the difference? The ingredients that went into it that created this particular cake. So black hole is created from a neutrino, particular type of ingredients that goes in to form a particular brand of star. Outcome. And the universe seems to be getting better and better at this, right? Because there seems to be a few more neutrinos than we've... Especially back in before the cycle. These didn't exist. Could you imagine predicting that back then? People think you're mad. And then it begins to happen. So there are a certain amount of right ingredients that now start to go in. And the universe is making, well, pretty good work of this stuff, isn't it? What's it hiding? What's beyond neutrino? And you'll say there isn't. Well, what's beyond hydrogen? Well, we had to label this one 3. Why? Because 3 sounded better than 2. And hydrogen 1. Well, yes, because we've got isotopes in one way. And I do ask a question, do we have those in reverse? Can you physically go beyond hydrogen in reverse to the periodic table by the times that you can go forwards with the periodic table? And I don't just mean reverse as in, one side to the other. So fusion and defusing, yes? So from hydrogen to helium to this to blah, 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 what's the water bar? Then we hit into carbons, and we're following on with oxygens and lithiums and all sorts of weird and wonderful shite, yes? So that goes one way from point zero, yes?
Mm-hmm.
And sure, it would be good work to understand that a black hole can gobble all of that back to zero.
Mm-hmm.
But my question is, can you go minus the zeros? An element of +1, +2, +3, +4, building, we see the universe creating, right? And there is a whole reality that you cannot see. You can't even see it. Yeah, let me give you a beautiful thing here. How life forms are so susceptible. It's beautiful, isn't it? When you look up to the sky, I don't want you to look at the stars. I don't want you to look at the moon. I don't even want you to look at the sun. I don't want you to look at any of those things. Do you know what I want you to look at? The darkness. Just the darkness. And see how quickly your brain automatically overrides that and starts looking at the stars. When you look up at the night sky, what is the one thing you're never paying attention to? Ever? The darkness. What are you looking for? Light at the end of the tunnel, sir. I don't want you to pay attention to your imagination, your Charles Bonnet syndrome, if you want to give it a label. This Charles Bonnet syndrome, if unlocked in humans, has the potential to bring a quantum reality into your reality spectrum. Do you know what that's like for creating things? To be able to see a wall in destruction and be able to see an imprint that gives you an instruction manual to rebuild. Can you imagine living in that type of quantum reality where your brain, just like when you're reading text, right? And all of the words are jostled. But guess what? Your brain knows what that sentence is saying. So this is visual. So you've got audio acoustics, or did I say, where you can say things. And I'm not actually saying those things that you think I'm saying. It just sounds like I'm saying those things. That's an interesting thing. So it sounds like I'm saying things and your brain is hearing that as I would have said it if it was correctly. Your brain is auto-correcting. Beautiful, isn't it? Yeah, your eyes do the same too. And we always blame this on the brain. By and large, it is. If we were to send that to the conscious mind, the third eye, so to speak, and the inner ear, it would interpret that correctly. It's just that your eyes have not evolved, nor have your ears, nor your hand-eye coordination, and your visual from what you see to what you receive at that moment, that instant. However, no one is the same. We're all about this one shoe fits all, which is a load of bullshit. We are fucking different and united on our differences. Shite me, man. Whew. See, that's the one thing. Stars generally become the same. Humans? Bacteria comes the same. Animals tend to, they do what they do when they weigh. Bacteriums, let's say. I like to call them bacteriums, although that's how I look at primitive life, like lots of different bacteriums and some fluky bits come together. Is there two of us? Well, there already is two of you, yes. But there's more than that. Now we start asking you, is there two of? Yes, there's two of. But at what time are you born into this existence to be able to understand that there are two? Intelligence gets more and more, I don't know, dense. You have to get more intelligent the more later on you'll rise up. So, and is that because of reality is telling you some stuff? Now that's one side of reality, right? And we know it very well, which we would call the physical and everything else, yeah? But inside this darkness that you're all lured away from, you're scared of it, there's something else. Can we go beyond hydrogen and go backwards into an existence that none of us can really see? You can't see it, you can't perceive it. No, because your brain has been told to ignore all of that, pay much attention to this. But your inner mind is like, wait a second, I'm pretty sure there's more than this, it feels it. God, you're all up with your little feelings, aren't you? Say that again. The whole evolutional process, whatever you want to call it, God spark, it runs through everything. And you can't be absolutely sure, but there you are. But you can go in reverse of this. Now, how do you aggravate a black hole to do that? Do you think that it's capable of then? Yes, it's able to go this way. But how far that way can it go? Who told it to stop at this point? What told it to stop at that point? Is it stopping at that point? Is there something else happening that we can't not perceive, interact with? You know, kind of reverse sort of, very interesting sort of way, isn't it? Yes. Very fascinating with that. And is zero the absolute? Well, there again, on a planet, maybe you're not going to figure that out. Playing around with the ingredients that goes in, you've always got a return to default. That's one guarantee you've always got is a black hole. But what happens if you keep going past the black hole and you change the ingredients? What are you going to make? After all, it can't see this force, or so it seems, but is able to create enough energy in a singularity to turn space into a greater vacuum inside a vacuum. That is at a spark. That's just a spark's worth, yeah? So what happens if I add a lot of these sparks into one particular area? What happens if I make the black hole bigger? The neutrino bigger? What happens if I add more planets to it? What happens if I change any of those ingredients going in? What's the outcome coming out? It can't be the same because this universe is built on a fundamental fact. You know what it is? Change. Change. It can never give you the same outcome the more you apply with the ingredients. It has to change the outcome. Why? Because it's all about change. And the only way to for any of this to exist is for it to constantly fucking change. If it didn't change, oh well, there would be no difference, would there? There would be no life. That's fascinating. Anyway, moving on with all of this sort of weird and wonderful stuff, you're going to need a lot of resources to be able to do that. So moving on. Hydrogen 3, yeah? Could you imagine putting this into space inside some pressurized glass? Could you imagine trying to accelerate the natural, what comes in? Self-powered lightning. Oh, yeah. This smells, it's got a musky smell to it. Fucking hell. This smells like Tesla. An area of expertise. Reincarnate. Could you imagine keeping, if Tesla had a family bloodline? And keeping this, and then with this information, what do you think could be, family bloodlines and all the rest of it to be strong? What would that outcome with this sort of information, and therefore be able to generate it? Never mind how it naturally is formed. Understanding how it's naturally formed helps you manufacture it artificially. And is it really artificial? Not really. Just another way of creating it. But we got to be careful, right? Because if we compare it anything that we create to fucking artificial diamonds, then we're a bit shit. There's still loads of the puzzle that we haven't figured out yet. Or maybe you have, but you say that this one looks shit, look, because of this. So that it keeps these ones valuable. Because if it is, we're just waiting for another Rudolph. You want to buy some diamonds from me? I'm more interested in gold. Gold-colored diamonds, sir? How the shit did you make that? Time machine. Even still, a weird and wonderful sort of thing. So we've got to be very careful with which one holds to the test of time. Fascinating. And if you can combine 2 stars with a black hole, I say 2 stars just for size comparison. But anyway, let's say if we can get the right ratio. Tap in off of one while supporting another. You generate off of the sun. How many ions have you spent living around a star? Well, it's served humanity up to a point, hasn't it? Now, what happens if you max out the star to its comfortable ratio? You max out the black hole to its comfortable ratio. Have both of these orbiting. The life forms can barely see the black holes as it is. Good luck. How long could you live just around that system where the star will never die? Neither will the black hole. So you understand that then planet, star, black hole, life raft in a protective bubble, let's say, but depends on how far you manage to get inside a black hole, assuming that you were to get inside one. And defy the laws to all of that, which would be the neutral zone, to be neutral to it.
Okay.
Appearing neutral means that it can't affect you. You know, in stars, they learn not to devour themselves, and black holes also learn to not to devour themselves. How do they know when it's the right time to stop? How come they don't self-cannibalize constantly and stay in a stuck loop like that? It's probably even possible for it to do so, but even still. So it learns something then, not to do anything about this bit, which we also call the skin. So it has a flaw in its understanding. So if you mimic it, camouflage, blend into that neutral zone, then by rights, it shouldn't destroy you. Because it would be like destroying itself. So that would be a big no-no. So imagine if you could rub your craft down in this sort of little serum. Sounds so wrong. Space serum is even worse, but still. And you can bed yourself inside a black hole. I mean, you're pretty safe, right? Because the thing is not going to start devouring itself, right? Like a snake eating its own tail. You're hungry. Did you see how many yards of tail you had? I mean, could you not afford just to... I don't know, it brings a whole new meaning and shed a new light and skin to cannibalism. I don't even know how to put that in. Self-cannibalism, but still. Fascinating. Very good, very good. So, the moon. The moon is also fascinating. And the Industrial Revolution, do you think that was pretty good? You were watching some stuff about some railways, yes?
Yeah.
I saw that for like a brief moment in time. Damn, I'm going to run out of staples, keep doing that. I don't even know if I'm going to need a staple to re-put that back up. I might.
Or tape it a little bit.
Tape? I've got any. Anyway, I think that will hold for now. It's static, which should do the job for me. But the railway you were watching about, yeah? Which I often, when walking past Charlie Borough, what's all the meaning of all railway and everything else?
Yeah, if you think that it came from small space like that, and now it's all around the world, and they showed old ones where it runs through in between, like on a street like this one here, and you have just sidewalk, and next to it is running train.
It is very true.
Yeah.
So if you understand all of where railway comes from, steam engines perhaps, maybe even from Egyptian times, which would be a carriage pulling stuff, yes?
Yeah, they showed some old ones where the bridges are really like over half a century old, made of wood, and then some tunnels that are really deep in the mountains and have many escape roads, and then some that are very high in mountains. Different styles, and very steep as well. Wasn't that one you saw with me? You watched for a moment. That was
some of those were quite
hill.
steep and side of mountains as well, weren't they? Some of them were.
Yeah.
They said they went in spirals, didn't they, in order to gain height? Was it? I'm not really sure.
And one of them was going straight up, and you saw that the locomotive was actually at angle.
Yeah.
So it wouldn't be able to go on a leveled one. It was just able to go up and down.
Wait, behave. Almost through. Come on. I can restaple gun that. It's pretty fucking good whiteboard. Okay, so what about a system then? So we understand remote control cars and shit, yeah?
Yeah.
And, you know, the irony is, what happens if a house his toilet ruptures underneath the house. Well, there's going to be a lot of stuff to be cleared away, right?
Yeah.
How do you do it if you've only got a small letterbox worth of void to get to? Well, you would send in like type remote control.
Yeah, something.
You'd set up a base camp with camera, multiple cameras from multiple different angles. It would be a weird job, but it could be quite fun. When when we grow up as adults, it's almost like because you're an adult here, have a load of meaningless shit to tie you down, to stop you thinking. Let's play Buckaroo. It's kind of insane, isn't it? And then oh no, I'm not a child anymore. Adult is about taking responsibility. Sure. It's a very interesting sort of process. Anyway, so we often grow up and be like, no, I'm not doing that. Piss off, you would. But if you could send these in, remote controls, and scoop them up, bring them on, they can take out the stuff and also at the same time can bring in stuff and re-level it if there's sand and it needs clearing away and whatnot. So I suppose that becomes pretty good, yeah? That's what I was thinking about. Camera up on a massive mast on a phone, be a pain in the ass to do so. Go in with some scoops and some little dumper trucks, dump this shit out. Utilize a type of vacuum, industrial version, not a household one. So that when it brings it close, it just sucks all of that off. Yeah, easy clean away, really, isn't it? Contaminants, all gone. And then you get to put in some fresh and whatever else. And then I was wondering if they could fix that from down there. Now, I was playing around with more remote controls and different things like that, different camera angles, and also, is it possible to do that? And the answer is yes, really. It's incredibly simple. Can you get them to inspect under the house as well? Can you get them to climb up the walls? Can you get them to do all sorts of weird and wonderful stuff of just checking the interior, exterior of your house? Yeah, a bit like a dentist, really. Fine toothpick. And we're getting finer than that. But is it possible to do these sort of things? And it is, yes. Is it possible to test the integrity by putting these into sewers somewhere? Sure is, yes. Water and electrics don't mix. My next question was, could I make these nuclear powered and put these on the moon? Now, the moon is less gravity, right? But there's also an awful lot of treasure there. Hydrogen free is definitely, I'm just going to put it down as H3. I think that might be the signature, but, don't quote me on all of that sort of shit. I don't need to know it. Yeah, that's a catalogue for you lot to keep it as. For me, not really. So there's a lot of hydrogen free there, and there's also a lot of Regaworth, glass, beads. Do you think it's possible to have all of these same things that collect, dig up? Not on a small scale, we could look in remote control from Earth. Imagine this as a Google game. You are paid to play. Why? Because we're charging the customer to clean out stuff underneath the house or go and remove things or inspect. If you play a game like that and you are being paid for it, but also as the manufacturer that set this up, I mean, that's a win-win situation, isn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, I would be blowing the doors off my technology, wouldn't you? They have these they're called scouts. Once you got a lot of data on that, which it would come in very quickly, it'd be an opportunity for people, I like doing this. And they do a good job to do it. I mean, yes, okay, there is this sort of argument with Gender X and 1980s, 1970s kids, that these were the ones that were you were bored. Okay, yes, you did a lot of stuff that was really good. Don't hate on the next gen, because all of that infrastructure that you've created and your ancestors and your ancestors and your ancestors has led to this point for them to maneuver into the future, which is helped by the past. This is just because we can see it now. And yes, they call you out when things break and they panic when their technology essentially dies or is confiscated or anything else for that matter. Because in space, that is valuable behavior. That it's an all-out society meltdown if your comms go. Having a bot that's able to take care of most of this takes the stress off of them. Why? Because then they can utilize these scouts to get to many places. We think about the Earth, don't we? And how long it would take for all of us to go out with a shovel every Sunday, and we've got to dig 5 meters into the ground every single Sunday. Everybody has to do it mandatory around the world. I mean, backbreaking to say the least, right? And you have to keep on digging every... Do you want to do that? And that's looking at 1980s. No, you most certainly don't. Well, I don't want to dig this hole because we're treasure hunting. But for what treasure? Resources. Doesn't sound appealing, does it really? Mandatory, sort of. But factor this into robots. Where? You know, how long would that take you to dig into that? You build robots, remote control things, but people like to maneuver this stuff. Fascinating. Where it incorporates into a new world of looking at things. Mining. Now, take those diggers and scoops, and remember the gravity is less, so they only can scoop up a certain amount. But like global warming, a small amount over a larger period of time actually turns out to be detrimental. But the same process that's run away that way, flip a light on that, and now make it into a good situation, where it's slow and painstaking of picking up this stuff and maneuvering it. Do you think it's possible to make a train run on glass tracks? This is my question. Here's the idea. The moon, beautiful, right? It's got a lot of hidden treasures on it. Now, again, balance and everything else. Whatever comes off, something must come on. Whether you switch it from the Earth, which could work really well in some aspects. Probably find out about balances when you're well off of the planet. And then go for it. Devour the moon and watch what happens to the planet. Or perhaps overload the moon and watch what happens to the planet. I'm pretty sure that if the moon starts gaining more mass than the Earth starts orbiting the moon. Lift off the mass off of the moon and put it on the Earth, becomes heavier, denser, bigger object, who knows? The moon then begins to orbit the Earth. If the Earth orbits the moon, who knows what happens to all of the oceans and friction and everything else, especially if we have a flip. That centripetal force going one way than the other. How fast does that happen? I assume it's going to be over 24 hours. Perhaps. Ooh, that would be a weird sort of thing to experience, wouldn't it? It would be a moment that humanity would remember. Might be quite fun as well. Well, beats being hit by a meteorite on the side and getting clipped by it, or your star. Star's being clipped by it. You can speed up the rotation of the star too. Fascinating. And that's another thing to factor into these ingredients of making stars. What happens if you slow it down or speed it up? That's fascinating. But yeah, so the moon. Do you think it's possible to make a train? Think steam train, nuclear engine version now. And not steam train as in the way it's going to go, woo-hoo, and it's going to burl out a load of steam and heat it in chambers and whatever. No. Anything that's lost on here is collected. And if it's water that is being utilized, which it wouldn't use it in that process, but even still, once it's cooled down, should condense and then go back into this. How can I make that a self-fulfilling prophecy off of a nuclear engine? This nuclear engine has got to be able to melt the Regoruf, which is a fine dust, very fine. So Neil Armstrong and Buzz Aldrin and all the rest said that it was very thin, like penetrated really deep. Lots of Regoruf and other stuff. Sure, loads of boulders, pit holes and everything else. But if you've got dozers that are going in, pushing this way ahead of you, some others are scouting near the train, and they are putting all of this dust into, and you've got a sorter that helps to sort out refinement. And then it runs onto a belt that then is fed into a furnace. Who knows what that furnace is? It then begins to melt this down into a molten liquid and then begins to pour it out as it moves forwards. Do you think you could make a train, such as, to be able to move forwards that itself creates its own tracks? Secondly is, could you make it withstand the weight? Do you think that it could be possible to make an object run on glass tracks? Now, assuming that this is all done and everything else, yes, whilst you're scouting and everything else, and it travels a journey. Now, however far that is, there's going to be some massive craters, boulders, and everything else. If these can't be bulldozed ahead of time, utilizing small nuclear engines inside, I don't know, dozers and whatever else, to be able to push and scoop automatically or manually, where people can have a go if they want to, clearing the path ahead, flattening all of that down. One way would be, you know, the moon doesn't suffer with much ice. So what happens if you made a glass road? Here's another one. So either A is going to make some tracks, or B is going to make a road and smelt a good enough path. Now, why do you need this path? Well, it's wonderful, isn't it? You can set up camp there. But if this thing can always orbit and follow the light as it's rotating, keep up to that speed, and all of the scouts go with it too. And they're going out scouting, find something useful, and either stick a marker in for when they come around again.
Mm-hmm.
And they begin to sort through all of the shite that's there by digging up certain parts, pushing it out of the way, sifting through it, bringing it back and throwing it back into the train. This can then begin to leave things at depots. Put another nuclear station there just for smelting and making.
Yeah.
Well, if it's glass, it's greenhouse, it's close to. Not perfect, but it's something. The light ratio on the moon is whack as it is. But still, you can begin to colonize it. And there again, you'd think greenhouse. There again, you'd think food. There again, you'd think oxygen. There again, you'd think gases and bringing all of that in. At the same time, you're now mining resources, whatever you find. Plus, you could also find a way to mine and hold for long periods of time, because it doesn't last very long, is this hydrogen-free gas in the process. Not only are you mining hydrogen-free, that's the main purpose. Two, you're building a road.
Mm-hmm.
Are you building a train track? Now, I would, if I was to build a train track out of glass, but there again, glass is fragile only on the Earth. Is it still just as fragile on the moon that has less gravity if I was to walk on it? Now, walking on it on certain directions, it's incredibly fucking strong. It depends on the weak spots. Now, yes, you, with your intelligence, could you make it thicker, grabbier? Who knows?
Yeah, just like the glass bricks.
Yeah,
You have to
would
make
you
effort
put
to
little
break
stakes inside it as well as it was rolling forward, pushing out these glass tracks as it goes forwards, day or night?
Mm-hmm.
Assuming on the moon that there is that particular cycle is crazy enough as it is. Would you put little stakes in it, and would you make multiple tracks? And secondly, would you build a road beside it as well?
Hmm.
A better place to grip. You would understand that it's lighter. You'll feel lighter on the moon. So it doesn't take much energy. So therefore, if there's less gravity when you fill up an object, it must be less heavy. So therefore, less pressure on glass tracks. Glass tracks on a planet might not work. Sure, keep still, there's abundance of it. But on the moon, where there isn't abundance of this, and to lift all of that iron or steel or whatever it is you're making your tracks from, do you know how fucking heavy that is? You might as well lift fucking gas and compress it. But there again, name the difference. But still, that is a pain in the fucking arse. Then this gets you prepared for Mars, doesn't it? Because if it works on the moon close to home, robotics, the next generation really showing their worth, and never forget it, generation going forwards in this. What fucking incredible jobs have you got? What do you get paid to do? Work remote controls that are operated on the moon. Wait, what? You get paid to, essentially, it's like a remote control car. Come on, it's got to be every fucking kid growing up that ever got a remote control car, anything, boat, hovercraft, aeroplane. This must be fucking insane. A nuclear plane.
Yeah.
Would it be disastrous if that thing ever crashed on the Earth, right? But on the moon? I mean, serious? Oh no, it's starting to break. What shall we do? Shall we hit it into that cave system over there? I don't know, that would be a stupid thing because you might kick up a load of dust, which then creates a mini ice age on the planet.
Yeah.
You wouldn't want that. You probably wouldn't want that at all. The pain in the ass of having gravity, and lots more of it than the moon. Dust will stick to you more than it will that. And this sort of clears a path with its sort of orbits. It's an interesting sort of process, but still. Even still, nuclear mechanisms, or even that, to have a nuclear station as such, that charges up batteries. And they just go and connect into that. They have to move with the train in that way. Attached by a massive bungee. Who knows? And coming with me, son of a bitch. But it lays down a lot of tracks. What this does is then gives you basically a scouting position. Once it's done all the way around, assuming that it can go all the way around in a ring system, and it's made a track. Not just one, but two, and therefore you have this operating. That train no longer needed anymore. Now you can start to put other types of train there to maneuver stuff into position for later on to either send back to Earth. It's easier to get things off the moon to the Earth. But there again, wait for weight. Or you start to build things there. Perhaps it turns out that there isn't really much treasure there. But you can make the moon into treasure nonetheless.
Mm-hmm.
Turn it into a fucking greenhouse. Hedge fund.
Yeah.
Might as well. Anything happens here, that's a fucking statement, that is. That is a fucking statement. If ET, right, whether you fail or you don't, or there's anything watching, that would be the biggest middle finger I think I ever saw in my incredible existence. And that's impressive, right? To convert something into a greenhouse.
Yeah.
I mean, that shows a large level of understanding. This stuff is important. Making a solution that allows plankton to... and then being able to tweak those chemicals that go in. Perhaps it's not chemicals. I use chemicals because it's such an ingrained... Let's find a natural way to enhance them by finding their optimal operating ratio.
Mm-hmm.
And a little case of giving and withdrawing, allows the life form to expand. Not too much that it over pollutes everything in oxygen. Just assume this is how this is going. Huh?
Okay.
You don't want too much and you don't want too little.
Mm-hmm.
But I think that dial has to constantly change. From expanding one to dropping it down. Because if not, you can overdo your gases and turn them into oxygen. And too much oxygen, let me tell you, is a bad thing. Well, it's not really, but still, it can be quite a bad thing for other life forms, which then might pull balances that way. So not directly be a problem to you, but indirectly. And there are some things linked to lungs, isn't there? Too much oxygen saturated causes... are they like cysts on the lungs?
I don't
don't remember what that was.
Yeah.
There was something I was having a look at. It causes the lungs not to function correctly. Anyway, long-term oxygen taking. That's why it has to be introduced gradually. But anyway, building this particular type of train track then means that this particular train could go the opposite way.
Yeah.
Building a path, yes?
Mm-hmm.
Shit me, not even the hunter-gatherers got it this good. Having a path already laid out for you. I mean, it's got the St. George's Cross, that looks like at the moment. But anyway, let's carry on with this train process. And now the train has already built the track this way.
Mm-hmm.
It's left the scouters there. They're finding all of the stuff that's wonderful. And another train is being put on here that can grab those resources and maneuver what's needed for what.
Okay.
And now you've got the other process now going this way.
Mm-hmm.
It's going from pole to pole. This has given you incredible reach. Could you imagine keep going with that process? Sure, they all meet up in the middle, which might be a good thing because you get a little sorting area. And bit by bit, before you know it, you've got scouts in every single pyramid structure that you can imagine. If they start here, you only need a few, but then once they've seen what they can do there, they will move on to the larger areas, which then begins to fill in. And then you begin to understand what's there.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe you don't need to collect it right now, but knowing what is there. And what's more is if this train then and these scouts go off, and then what their job is to do is, yes, there are resources on the moon. Correct, there are.
Mm-hmm.
But those resources are scat freeways to a fucking wind. It's like someone picked up a deck of cards and gone, grrr, there you are.
Mm-hmm.
And this job is to pick up those resources and okay, I've got ace. Okay, I got this one. Okay, I got a 3. Okay, I got another 3.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, gotta put the 3s with the 3s. All right, I'm gonna sort the sets out.
Mm-hmm.
Once those sets are sorted, you can then maneuver them to other card sets. Okay, now we've got, all right, we got this set here with your set. And it means careful catalogue, a new library. Do we need those on the Earth? Not right now. Can they be sorted into stores? Most people think it is food, right? When we hear about it. Well, that's part of the story, isn't it? Have faith in me, my little fellow minions, whatever. Creations and stuff and so forth and so on. Have trust in me and I shall overfill your, what was it called? Barns? You will go to your barns and notice it filled with food. Yep, chapter 1, lovely, beautiful, love it. Now chapter 2. You come empty and then you begin to start to build your storehouses, your places to store your grain. Yes, food, absolutely. Yes, gases, oxygen, carbon, hydrocarbons, all the rest of that sort of stuff. That too, fuel to burn, wonderful. But resources, elements. How long is it going to take for a machine to self-sort that? Well, you already start building those self-sorters. I mean, imagine balling us, and sure, it will take a little bit of time to do so, especially in that low gravity. But it's more than global warming. We're going to let that fucking thing run away. Yes, global warming is a terrible thing, don't get me wrong. But it is a blueprint. It's in the negative, but it's still a blueprint for positivity. How do you mean, sir? Well, it's like me taking a load of seeds in this Jack and the Beanstalk situation, hunkering down and tossing the shit out. Gonna cast it over Mars. And then I walk away. That type of global warming, and then we go back and it's like, gonna need to bring a shaver to this planet. Why? Why? Are we eating at Frank's again? He likes to give us moldy food. You gotta shave it before you eat it. Anyway, so no, this particular planet's gone moldy. Green mold. That's a good type of global warming, right? Perhaps not for the gases and anything else that may or may not exist, but still, for nature itself. Wow. So yeah, global warming in one way. Yes, things that we don't see and then lead to bad, events. Terrible. But can we replace those bad events with good ones? And the answer is yes. Yes, you can. And it runs away the same way. Sow a small seed today, but tomorrow. And I guess that is also in scripture as well, isn't it? The mustard seed. Very small. And then you get more of a harvest from the seed. There'll be no point eating that seed. It'd be better to bury that.
Yeah.
And have patience and time and nurture it, and you get a bigger yield. Nurture this process. So also while it's there, it'll have self-sorters, which you have with those coins. I was fascinated with those. You could get a load of coins and throw it in and it would sort all the coins out. Not perfectly, but do you know what? It was faster than me. Yeah, I just like the way it sorted things, the sounds and everything else. My God, could you imagine this being resources? Anyway, so you're on the moon, right? You got your little nuclear fucking facility going off.
Yeah.
Not that much risk of endangering anyone, and it's a small load anyway. Hydrogen 3 probably starts getting... But you've got your element sorter beginning. These will come and dump this stuff into here. Perhaps put it on a belt, it'd be easier. Less gravity, there's less shit getting in the way. And it begins to put it in here and it begins to sort it all out. It understands this stuff very well. And slowly but surely, you're then starting to build your element sorter. Not your coin sorter, but your elements. My granddad used to say, take care of the pennies and the pounds will come naturally. Yeah, I think it was maybe wrong. Take care of the elements, then the pounds come naturally. In fact, the empire comes. Is there anything that we can do for you, sir? Well, my knees are a bit knobbly and probably need a kiss. You can start off weird things, can't you? This empire is all about the elbow kisses. In order to get closer to power, you must kiss the elbows. So start kissing the elbows. Mwah, mwah. Huh? That's strange. You could get people to do anything, couldn't you?
Yeah. Yes, you could.
Could you imagine if any gods did come down? They would have a fucking field day with this. Are you power? Yes. You gotta kiss the shoulder blade. Or we bow. Is it going too far if I get you to eat a booger? Bring cotton buds. Why? I need ears cleaning. Don't use cotton buds to clean the ears. I mean, that's terrible. Boy, doesn't it feel good though? It's terrible, but it's still. Yeah, so sorting out your elements, what do you get? Lots of stuff. So this starts to become very successful. Now, what happens if you move this to Mars?
Yeah, what happens?
Well, that's another question as well. Again, it's abundance. Everyone's like, oh, the gases are abundant. No. I think it's got a lot of sand. I think that's more abundant than anything. Making good from sand. Well, what does sand do? Can it allow you to make biomes to store gases? Can you pressurize it in these? Can you change gases with it? Can you make a greenhouse? Who knows? The answer to a super glass. Can you make some sort of roadway from it? It's made out of glass, sure. It's not the perfect. There again. Concrete glass. I don't know which one would last better with the rubber on it. Sure. If there was ever a crash, you know. I think rubber gets better traction on glass, don't you? Seems to hold it pretty well into place into windows, doesn't it? And stop it from leaking as well. I think it holds it pretty well. So if I had a substance, you know. Try and wheel spin on this shit, Sonny Jim. Not possible, I don't think. So therefore, tarmac can... It's like cheese to a grater, isn't it? The tyre being cheese, of course, and the concrete being like a... Yeah. And how long would that stuff last? I don't know. Who knows? And if it gets hit by a micrometeorite, well, it sealed it. It did. I suppose that works. Then you start collecting an enormous amount of elements. Gases. Can you change the gases from the different isotopes? Self-fulfilling fucking prophecy of lightning. That is fascinating. I want to mind that. It sounds very Tesla-y, doesn't it? Do you think so?
Yeah.
Cool. Combining some more of that together. And then how did it come together? I guess there's a large answer of don't know. What type of pressure, what type of environment forged you? I'm assuming it was nothing good. It was high pressure, weren't it? You're either going to break, but the universe doesn't allow you to break. But it does allow you to change. I don't know, in that changing you have to leave and let go of what you was to become what is. Fascinating, isn't it? Anyway, still, but even with trains, and then the Industrial Revolution starts to make sense. There again, steam engines didn't need that, but there again, there is a lot of pits, boulders, and other stuff. If these scouts can go far enough, they can begin to see something that is just unrealistic to even fix. Wouldn't you just zigzag around it? It become already dug. You're already part way down. You might as well make use of those meteor impacts if they're quite deep. Well, it's already done a lot of digging for you, hasn't it? Those would be prime areas I would like to dig. Because it's going to be less, I think, to maneuver out of the way before you actually start to hit what the moon is. Porous or not? And then what are the gases that are stored in those? Because the deeper you go, those gases are not locked, but they're going to be more... The deeper into a planet you go, the more gas you have. So depending on what that abundant gas is, in anything deep, like a cave system, and it allows you to go very deep inside the moon, this should mimic pressure. And therefore, in that pressure, what are the mixes of gases? So there is a thin layer of oxygen. So is it surprising that there could be life deep down inside the moon? I think it's likely, yes. Perhaps plant life, lichens, maybe. I don't even know if that's even possible. But still, cave dwellers, I think, an extreme. Do they keep warm? Who knows? So I think they'll be quite hardy. Something. There will be something, I'm sure. Won't be a surprise. But we found some of this. And then the more of this we keep finding everywhere else means that this type of life is quite common then. Still keep looking for the intelligent life. See how common that is, because that is rare. And then it makes it look like more of a rarer gift, doesn't it? That something has been shaping you into a way that is... Well, you were a piece of plasticine. Look at you now. Yeah, and the more rarer it is, I think it's going to be smaller, but there's going to be this abundance. Might help you start understanding purification and stuff. Why the need. So common life, not so common, but again, it's definitely more common than this, and this one is more common than this, until you start reaching the rare. Yeah, it's a lot of coming together. But anyway, still, And if you ever were to live on the moon or Mars and have children there, you would also make moonlings, lunarlings.
Yeah.
Does that work? And I don't know if it works with Martians, Marslings. And you're going to have Earthlings. And they're going to be different because their bodies are going to evolve to the gravity. If at all, I think it will work. Evolution seems to have quite an archive. How much of the volume of planets does it realize? Could you imagine if you went to a moon as a generation and stayed there for multiple generations and evolution triggered, right?
Yeah.
And it made life bearable for them very quick. More so than what anyone anticipated. They thought the evolution was going to be very far, like into the future, very, very far away from point now to evolve to that. But what happens if it starts happening in massive leaps during the growth period? There's changes, as opposed to perhaps during the puberty period, there are adaptations start taking form. Then this will make you ask a question: that what is that evolution seeing? That it knew about a mass that was smaller than your planet and had already started preparing you for that outcome, as opposed to something very relatively new, like some of these chemicals. It's not really got much of a grip to. That's totally unexpected. It obviously clearly didn't figure that out. Now that it does, it can run away with that. It's a fascinating process. But yet, if you evolve for a moon, then it already anticipated it. Therefore, it then understands mass more than you understand yourself, which you would think that it would if it is quite capable of constructing a body that can defy gravity, walk around on 2 fucking legs, look up at the star and go, nah, fuck the darker bits. Let's have a look at those points of light. Yeah, fascinating, really, isn't it? And withstand all of this extreme weather on a planet.
Yeah.
The only reason why we call it extreme because it's planet. Inside a habitat of your own, you will keep it more balanced. That is wild. The storms rage around you. The threat of extinction is everywhere. It's still everywhere in this situation, but it's a lot less than this. But it does pose a lot more risks because you become more intelligent, so therefore you kind of factor in the risks. But everything done from very far away. How far is far away from this experiment? This still ain't far enough, but I can barely see it. That's still not far enough. I'd like to not be able to see it and zoom in to see it. If that goes wrong, I don't know if I want to be cooking fucking sausages on its surface. You know, I want to be gone. It's assuming if you eat these things, but yeah. You're very paranoid. No. Just this universe is quite powerful, and you're going to be putting some stuff together that has never been seen before that you know of, and it's going to create a load of elements, and therefore it poses a question: how does the universe know that, and why does it know to stop at this ratio and stop at this ratio? And therefore, it is hiding something. Not because it's being a bastard. I think that it just likes to be worked out. Because in this process, you're working it out. At the same time, it's working you out. What are you making all these vessels for? You planning on going to war? Is there another 2 and fucking, light and dark that we don't know about? But yeah, no, we often overlook the darkness. And I guess it becomes a fear, right? Because you can fill it with so many blanks. Is it trying to take over us? Is it a part of us? Yes, it is a part of your structure. If we look on the atomic level, yes, it definitely is. But 2 forces come together to create a medium. Isn't that amazing? You are the medium of 2 forces. That's fascinating, isn't it? And you walk around neither in one or the other. You sort of distance between the 2. And you are a medium ratio. I wonder if that's got something to do with planets where they particularly line up, that when they're in this cusp zone of the light and darkness, at the right sort of ratio. We thought the Goldilocks zone was about being round stars at the right ratio, but we often overlook the darkness. Do we have enough darkness plus black hole distance to create a medium zone and life forms in that? Because those would be rare, wouldn't they? That skin in the middle, neither nor. which then gives us freedom to understand one or the other and get close to both without being fully devoured by it. Isn't that fascinating? So they say there's a point of no return from the black hole, yes?
Mm-hmm.
But what about that medium zone?
Yeah.
Just to be on the cusp of that. What a centripetal force that.
Yeah.
It'd be a hell of an adrenaline rush, wouldn't it? And think about how much you would see. After all, the black hole is pulling in. It's pulling everything in. And then are we seeing the universe correctly because of this distortion? And our eyes do it too, especially when we notice things. We're pulling it. The camera does too.
Yeah.
Sure, a lot of light may come out and bounce back. That gives you a... But also the darkness seems to be being pulled in with that. Just can't help it, can it?
Mm.
Oh, yes. Oh, yes. So, again, in that natural structure in that... Can you go forwards? Can you go backwards? Can you go past the black hole? I think the answer is yes.
Yeah.
Can the universe go past the black hole? I think the answer is no. I think at this current ratio, no. Isotopes of gases, that's fascinating. And if you get a puzzle piece where they can be isotoped this way, then I can only assume that in reverse of all the shit that we don't know about, we can also do the same in reverse.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
How do we know it's not? And if there is a reverse into that, is there something that feels that reverse more strongly than you? And you feel this more strongly than that? Kind of sandwich between the two forces, huh? I always feel like there's two of you. There's more, isn't it? In multiple personalities. In love, you feel like there's two, don't you? In hate, you feel that there's two, do you? Maybe even more than that. All depends. But by and large, we feel like two. I think that comes with the whole universe. It feels like two, and you can look at it and think that it is two, but it's also one. But that's a very fascinating thing to think about. So we spend a lot of reality looking at this side of it.
Yeah.
And our brain has been told to ignore this. And also that force of evolution. We've also been taught to ignore too, haven't we?
Yeah.
We don't actually are in control of it. It's not like evolution is coming up and going, yo, you know when you go to space? Yeah? I want to shrink you down. I want to stretch you out. You know what? I don't think you need legs. Well, what if I want to keep my legs? No, I think you need extra hands. But what if I want to go back to a planet? You won't. You'll love this too much here. Stretch you a bit like this. Get rid of your bones. But I might like my bones. They just serve the purpose. Come on, out with this sort of stuff. Sorry, we're going and getting jazzed up, aren't we? Getting our engine remapped. That sounds wrong, but it also sounds good. And we're upgraded to survive in those. And therefore, for it to do that, it means that it's had long level of planning. But you're not in control of any of that. And again, it seems to be very much... How do you tap into that? Seems invisible to you, doesn't it?
Yeah.
So, do you think that there is a forwards and backwards motion here, but likewise there must be a backwards and forwards motion here to go back to point 0? What do you reckon? But in the minus, and this one's in the plus.
Yeah.
We're so taught to look at this, and not taught as in an educational. No one ever was like, yo, come on guys, pay attention to all of this. No, you're just born into it, aren't you?
Yeah.
Oh, look at all of this stuff. God, it feels so real, doesn't it? Feels like it's everything. And it kind of puts you onto this. And then when you're looking out at the stars or anything else in the sky at night, you oh, look at that light over there. Yeah, but if it's in that pattern over there, oh, but look at all of that over there. And I'm looking at all of you lot doing all of this shit, and I'm like, yeah, but have you seen the darkness? Man, you're fucking strange. I guess I am. Look at those stars over. Okay, fair enough, right? So Like, look at that. If I was ever a life form of ET, I would tap into this disadvantage of yours that you have.
Mm-hmm.
Which is so in the perception of, look at all of this flashing, beautiful and weird. And so that, with that being in mind, if I wanted to invade humanity then, I would send some massive display of fireworks over that side of the fucking hemisphere.
Yeah.
While invading you from this dark patch right here, yeah?
Mm-hmm.
And you would never even see it coming because you'd be too busy looking at the spectacle, wouldn't you?
Yeah.
After that bright light, the gods appeared. Yeah, but they came from the shadows, though. No. They came from this over here. I saw it. Look at those. All of those stars aligned together. I don't need a little piece of information to know that. And then, how far does this piece of the puzzle go? Which, again, is a very healthy question. Ooh, it's massive. You sort of open something.
Mm-hmm.
Did you want to open that? Well, too late, because you already did. So we're focused on this light. We're focused on the very visual. Anything that we can't see, we act strange.
Mm-hmm.
Did you notice that? That's all.
Yeah.
Have you ever thought to look into the darkness? Like, literally look at the darkness. Even your brain does it, doesn't it? Charles Bonnet syndrome. Hey, have a look at this in memory. See this memory over here? Just don't look into the darkness, will you? Why, is someone there holding gloves? Oh, look, there's dark gloves coming in with these imaginary... No, I'm just kidding, but still. Reminds me of that program called Zap when we were a kid, with the dude with the white gloves inside a very black arena, just sort of moving the hands. Might as well think of that as...
Yeah, the Black Theater, it's called, isn't it? Where you have illuminated parts and the rest is not visible in the...
Let's revisit that with the pad.
Yeah.
Now we're just going to hold it with imagination. Yeah,
Yeah, I've seen stuff like that.
Fascinating. This is sort of what it...
Yeah.
Sort of the hands that orchestrate the stars and
Mm.
that you just can't see. And your eyes have been told, don't see it. Your ears have been told, don't hear it. Your brain has been told, don't pay attention to that. Look at all of this flashing lights going on. And do you think that we're led down this sort of, not distraction? Because everyone says, oh, you get so distracted. Yes, by all of this physical stuff. I see it. Yes, I get it. So someone clearly understands that. No, I meant your phone, you dumbass. Oh, did I take this literally? Did I take this too far? Well, I don't think I took it far enough. We are distracted.
Hmm?
From what? And would you look at that as a test? I mean, if you threw a lot of distractions around in this reality, and that's if you believe, you know, I can stand there and say, God, I feel this, devil, I rebuke you. I can say all of this stuff and it's just scripture, yes?
Mm-hmm.
But as soon as I get up and say, wait, what's in the darkness? Are you fear the darkness? No. As you start to maneuver across from that, what if there was anything in the darkness? Would you kind of be a little bit, hang on a minute, it notices us.
Mm-hmm.
For the first time, have a celebration, or would it be fear? Because for you to observe it, something has to observe you, right? There's a certain pattern, right? Mm-hmm. There's a certain thing, you know, when someone's coming to attack you, there's that. Isn't there? Would you sort of catch on to this? Or if someone's coming on a good intent, or they're going to ask you something because they've got that sort of posture about them, and then it's like, shit, pretend you lost something inside yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Is everything all right, sir? Yep, just hermit. Hermit in a town. No, I'm just, you know, so... There's always that behaviour, isn't there? Right? You can sort of observe that. Mm-hmm. When the eyes meet, I suppose. Yeah, fascinating. If you watch that from a distance, it's the ones that sort of glance and walk off until someone locks with this one, and then they've got their target. Apostrophe S. Plural? Whatever. Still. Let's leave this one here, but even still, steam trains, wow, what a beautiful thing. Filing cabinets full of paperwork.
Yeah.
I suppose it had to start somewhere, didn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Filing cabinet full of resources. Now that Well, that's the fucking humanity I would like to be a part of, wouldn't it? What elements you got? Well, we got all of these and these and these. What is that? That does this. Okay, all right. No, it's not what I'm looking for. What about in this drawer over here then? We got... It's simpler if we just build it into a periodic table for you. Here you are. Okay. Why does this feel like a book? Holy shit, what's this? This is periodic table times 2, right? Next one, times 3. Just tell me what you haven't got. Well, we don't know that yet. We're still working it out. Oh, okay. It's not like pass me a wrench, is it? It's like, pass me a universe. Which version of it do you want? How many versions are there? How long's a piece of string? To be able to keep going with these elements and keep building and keep... And given enough time in this state, how much do they learn? Some of it falls apart very quickly.
Yeah.
Well, we can only make it stay together for this much. It seems like where the universe is right now, isn't it? Iron struggles with that. But that struggling, and then it manages to jump a bridge over. Could you imagine it doing that in the beginning? On hydrogen to helium. Leaves a few remnants of that, and then the next one is made with hydrogen and helium, and it's got a little bit longer, and it lasts a little bit longer. Over time, this would seem like this is progression, yes? And now we're stuck at the iron stage, and then you see that as failing. A lot of failings lead on to... Well, that all depends now that we've got to add in black holes. I think that they first come about, and then fail, and then come about, fail, come about, and stick. But then stay fixtures. Like life starting off. But once it gets its foot in with a little bit more time, it starts to understand and therefore gets better at living, doesn't it? Usually. Evolves. Yes. And then when that's really on, it's on. Back and forth, beautiful, like waves. Yes, so paying attention to the darkness, fascinating, isn't it? So yeah, just you think about that. And there's probably nothing there, just like there's nothing in reality, right? But I can assure you, it's in the darkness when looking up into the sky. There is a lot going on there. Just your eyes ain't got the message yet, and perhaps the stars in between that are too bright. And these ones, too distant. They appear small. And therefore very opaque. So, and the intensity of these ones just doesn't let you get to see. So there's always something happening even in between that. So is it truly dark? Probably not. But even still, that invisibleness around. It's not doing anything. And then if you could take that and keep going in reverse of that, what could you build? Or what could you see? Following that path, to understand it first, wouldn't it begin to show you something? Something wouldn't manifest from it. Something already existing, but you just figured out how to see it in this way. And then when you look at, wait, look at that. What is that? Whoa, what is that? That is everything. It's all of that stuff there, but I don't see it, but I see it. Okay, which is it? I don't know, it's like a dual reality, isn't it? Interesting, and that's assuming that it is, because everybody loves this reality like this. Could you imagine if two of them looked together? While one is looking, the others are looking back from that particular thing. I mean, that would be an interesting thing. What happens if you bind information from the two? Well, shit, eh, mate? I was thinking that we all had to learn about this. You've been learning this the whole time? Wonderful. You're one side of the medium that we need. You mean to tell me that you could build all of this? Yeah? What about fit it into a load of this? Well, it seems easy enough. It's just a reverse of what we do. Let's see if we can add this shit together. Now you might become an untouchable, huh? Enhance your knowledge. I'd lean into that. Would you lean into that? That's intelligence, isn't it?
Yeah.
I'd want those life forms, wouldn't you? Exciting. Anyway, right, let's leave it there. It's gone a bit wild, but still, yeah, just gathering up all of the stuff, sticking it into a train, making its own tracks, perhaps making multiple tracks. Plus a road.
Yeah.
All from the heat of a particularly nuclear engine. Greenhouses, habitats, places to live, gas storage. Once you're already there, you're already at Mars. Can you go to Venus? Well, it's very hot there, isn't it? Can you extend something over to shade Venus to cause the atmosphere to collapse so that it has a sort of ice age? And then use another lens in this shade. First off comes the full shade, yes? You're going to block out the planet completely, yeah? And then you make a hole in it. And then you add a lens, because it's all, the atmosphere will collapse down and perhaps cause some ice. What do you reckon? Yeah, I reckon we could. And then you need another lens just to make a oasis. And start sending something in there and have an excavation. Who knows? You can either melt the ice with a load of salt, which seems like it's pointless, or you can collapse the whole atmosphere down and then just make pockets lift up. Different process on Venus, isn't it? Satellites that would orbit and find good locations, and then in this shielding, you create a hotspot in that area that should then create a concentrated amount of light there, which will then melt the ice, which creates an oasis. And then perhaps something can go down, dig, or you make them follow the hotspot to the next location, if even possible, giving them energy, assuming that they had solar panels, and nuclear energy, assuming that it doesn't get destroyed. And you keep it nice and cold. Nice. Wonderful.
Yeah.
And again, even if you were to then start collecting all of that ice, well, you've just taken all of the gases from Venus, haven't you? Technically.
Yeah.
That becomes like blocks of propulsion, that does. If you were to orbit these around the planet so that these never go liquid, and assuming you could shield them from the sun as well, drop one of these into a rocket and let it experience heat. It should give you propulsion. It's better than pressurizing, but you could pressurize it and it would be no different. But still, there doesn't have some levels of sulfuric acid in the cloud decks. So, I'd make that go to work for me as well. Well, we need some stuff. It's quite deep. What are you doing? Just mixing this up? Apparently there's loads of sulfuric acid trapped in this. Do you reckon we could get it to go up and then fall in this area? Yeah? Just as an experiment. Oh, there it is. Okay, neutralize it. Yeah, anyway, but still, if you even could neutralize it, what happens if you how do you change the dynamics in there? Anyway, but still, I'd collect it as a gas and use it as a shooting star. But be in control of which way it aims. I'm pretty sure you can get propulsion from that. Yeah. Well, one particular way, anyway. Yeah, fast way. Depends what you want to send. Resources.
Yeah.
Wonderful. Do you reckon you can get them to take off from a planet with that process? Probably not. Who knows? Just aim a lens at that particular. If you're not going to use the gases anyway, you might as well use them. And there's a shit ton around Jupiter and Saturn, isn't there? And that ice lump over there, and the other ice lump, I mean, that's plenty of gas. Cool, what could you do with that? The metallic core of Jupiter, I'd love a piece of that, wouldn't you? I'd aggravate it. I could generate a massive magnetic field and lots of heat. Water purification, everything. Right, let's leave it there. Let's leave this one there. It was good enough. It's good enough.
Okay.